Hi, I'm Olivia Dean and welcome to another session of Learning at Home TV. As the name suggests, we've created lessons for primary school students who are learning at home. And my job is to guide kids in the early years through their morning. As always, our focus is on staying fit and healthy, and we'll have tips for that coming up. But also in English, we will learn how language is used to entertain through the retelling of events. In maths, we will be learning about sharing collections, and in science, we will take a closer look at what houses are made of. So this is where I ask all students to grab their thinking caps and get ready to learn. Before we start our lessons, let's move our bodies. Over the past few weeks, we've been joined by some very successful sportsmen and sportswomen to help us with our movement exercises. And today, we're going to have a primary school student who is going to help us to be active. Take it away, Layla.
Hi, I'm Jane.
Hi, I'm Layla and I'm in grade 2.
Layla, what's your favourite physical activity?
Swimming,
Why is swimming your favourite physical activity?
because it keeps me calm, cool, and I love gliding through the water.
I think we could try some fitness moves that help keep us strong and fit for swimming and other physical activities. You follow us at home and have a go. Have a safe space. Our first one is going to be breaststroke marching. Reach and pull with the arms as our legs are lifting high at the knee. Knees high, reach and pull. Knees high, reach and pull. Next one, superhumans. Let's get down on the floor, make a long body shape. Arms long, legs long, ready to lift up off the ground. Lift and hold, lift and hold, lift and hold. All right, up again, and the front lunge. We're going to stand and push back. Whoops, stand and push back. Let's try the other foot. Stand and push back. Step and push back. Step and push back. Thank you for moving with us today. Keep moving at home because moving matters. Bye for now.
Step and push back. Oh, step and push back. Yes, Jane, moving does matter. But we can all pop back down in our seats for now because it's time to concentrate for our first lesson. This morning, Laura is going to read a story, and then she will talk about how we can retell a favourite story to our family or friends. So have fun reading and exploring how language can be used to entertain through retelling events.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura. Today we're going to look at a story, The Three Little Pigs. Have you heard or read this story before? Who do you think the characters in the story are? I bet you guessed right. Three Little Pigs. The title gives it away. No tricks there. Please join me as I read the story, The Three Little Pigs. The Three Little Pigs, a traditional tale. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs who did not have a home. The pigs knew that they needed a home, but they didn't want to live together. Each little pig imagined a perfect house and decided to build it. The first little pig decided to make her house from a big pile of straw that she had found. The straw was light and easy to carry. Because the straw was light, it didn't take the first little pig long to build her house. She was very pleased with the house she had built. She decided it was time to make herself some dinner. The second little pig was a strong little pig. He found a pile of sticks and decided he would make his house out of them. The second little pig worked so hard to build his house that he was very hungry once he had finished his house. He made himself a sandwich and ate it all up. The third little pig thought for a while. She had found a wheelbarrow and a big pile of bricks. She decided to build her house out of bricks. She knew the bricks were too heavy for her to carry in her arms, so she carried them in the wheelbarrow. It took the third little pig a long time to build her house of bricks, but when she finished, she was very happy. She was so tired she had to have a long nap. That night, the big bad wolf came to town. The wolf was hungry and thought that a little pig would be tasty for dinner. He found the first little pig's house of straw. He huffed and he puffed and he blew so hard that he blew the straw house down. The first little pig ran to the second little pig's house to warn him about the wolf. The wolf followed her and thought that the two little pigs would be a wonderful dinner. He huffed and he puffed and he blew so hard that he blew the stick house down too. The first and second little pigs ran to the third little pig's house to tell her about the wolf. She knew her house was made of bricks and was very strong. The third little pig told the other little pigs that they would be safe in her house. The wolf followed the little pigs to the third little pig's house. He thought that the three little pigs would be a perfect dinner for him. He huffed and he puffed and he blew as hard as he could, but the house of bricks stood strong. The wolf blew so hard that he fainted. The three little pigs cheered. The house of bricks was so strong that it had kept them safe from the wolf. The big bad wolf gathered up his belongings. He moved away and the pigs never saw him again. The third little pig invited the other little pigs to live with her. They both said, "Yes, please." The three little pigs lived happily ever after, together in the house of bricks. The end. After we read a story, we can show our understanding by retelling. This means that we can tell the story again using our own words, making sure that the events that happened in the story are in the correct order. I have planned a retell of the three little pigs using a retell planner. A retell planner helps us to write and draw the events of the story in the correct order. The first thing we need to do on a retell planner is write the title of our retell. You can see that I have written the title here, The Three Little Pigs. The story of the three little pigs is a narrative. We know a story is a narrative when it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning of the story, the three little pigs don't have a home, so they each decide to head off into the world to build their own homes. In the first box on my retell planner, I have written, "Once upon a time, three little pigs headed off into the world to find a home." In these boxes, I have told what happens in the middle of the story. And in this last box, I have written and drawn what happened at the end of the story. Remember, when we write a retell, we need to make sure that the events from the story are in the correct order and all the main characters are included too. I'm going to use my retell planner now to retell the story to you. Can you listen and check that I have included all the main characters and the events in the correct order? The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, three little pigs headed off into the world to find a home. The first little pig built a house of straw. The second little pig built a house of sticks. The third little pig worked hard and built a house of bricks. One day a big bad wolf came and blew down the house of the first little pig and the second little pig. They ran and hid in the third little pig's house of bricks. The wolf huffed and puffed and tried to blow down the house of bricks, but he puffed so hard he fainted. He gave up and went away. The three little pigs lived happily ever after. Now it's your turn to retell your favourite story. You can draw or write down your ideas. Remember to talk about the characters and the events in the story. Plan to retell the story with the events in the correct order and retell the story to your family or friends. Have fun remembering your story, planning and retelling to family and friends. See you next time. Bye.
I hope that you're all enjoying our company for Learning at Home TV. Monique and Kristen are the teachers who will be joining you for mathematics next. They will be working with you to show you how to share collections so that they're equal. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, my name is Monique and this is Kristen.
Hi there.
Today, Kristen and I are going to be talking about sharing collections so that they are equal.
Monique, what have you got there?
I have a collection of pens and I'm wanting to share them between these 3 containers. I know when you are sharing a collection, it is important to make sure each group is equal or fair. So I have organised my pens here and I'm going to share out one by one until there are no pens left. This pen goes into the first container. This pen goes into the next container. And this pen goes into the last container. Each container has 1 pen each, but there are still more to share, so I need to keep going. You have a turn, Kristen.
Okay, this pen goes into the first container. This pen goes into the next container. And this pen goes into the last container. There are no more pens left to share.
Great job, Kristen. We now have to check that each share is a fair share. There are 2 pens in this container. There are 2 pens in this container. And yep, there are 2 pens in this container. Each container has an equal share. The collection of pens has been shared equally. What have you got there, Kristen?
Well, Monique, I have a little problem. I really want to invite both you and our friend Beck to lunch, but when I set the table, I don't seem to have the right amount of objects for everyone. I really thought I had counted each object so everyone would get the same, but looking around the table, now I'm not so sure.
I can see why it is really important to know how to share a collection equally. The plates, knives, forks, spoons and cups are collections. Let's see now. At my place setting, there are 3 cups and 2 spoons. At Beck's place setting, there is 1 spoon, 3 forks and 3 knives. That is not equal.
Oh dear, and there is nothing for me to use when my lunch arrives. I wonder if we can work out what went wrong.
Don't worry, Kristen. We all make mistakes. That is how we learn. I know what went wrong. You forgot something very important that we do when we need to share.
Oh no, what did I forget to do?
You shared the collection, but you did not share equally. When we share, we have to make sure that each group is equal or fair. This means that each group will get the same number. Let me show you. I'm going to put the cups in their own pile over here, the spoons in a pile over here, the forks in a pile over here, and the knives in a pile over here. Now I'm going to share the cups equally. Each place setting will get their own cup. A cup for Kristen, a cup for Beck, and a cup for me. I have given each place setting a cup. The cups were shared one by one until there were no cups left. Each person's place setting has an equal share of the cups.
That makes sense and is certainly fair. I think I've got it. I'm going to give out a knife to each place setting. A knife for Monique, a knife for Beck, and a knife for me. I have given each place setting a knife. The knives were shared one by one until there were no knives left. Each person's place setting has an equal share of knives.
Great work, Kristen. Let's see if we can remember how to share equally. I'm going to set the rest of the table and want you to tell me if each place setting gets the same number of objects.
Thank you for helping me, Monique. I can already see that each place setting has an equal number of forks. That is fair. Everyone has one fork. Oh dear, Monique. I have found where the place settings are not equal. Your place setting has 2 spoons and Beck's place setting has 1 spoon and my place setting has none. There is not an equal share of spoons for each person. I know how to make each place setting equal though. I will place 1 spoon at Monique's place setting, 1 spoon at Beck's place setting, and 1 spoon at my place setting. Now everyone has 1 spoon, so that is fair. Did I share them out equally, Monique?
You sure did, Kristen. Well done. When I look around the table, everyone has the same number of objects. Each person has 1 cup, 1 spoon, 1 fork, and 1 knife. You worked out that we need to share our items equally so that everyone gets the same number. We have done a great job setting the table so that everyone has an equal share. And we have learned many things about sharing collections. I think I see Beck coming. It will be lovely to have lunch together now that we all have an equal number.
Thanks so much for joining us today. You might like to practice sharing when you are giving out a collection of objects, helping out around the home, or when you are even playing a game. Don't forget to make sure that each share is equal. Bye, Monique.
Bye, Kristen.
Bye,
everyone.
I remember my sister and I used to have a collection of 80 marbles, and when it came time to playing a game with them, I always made sure that we had our equal shares. All right, let's meet someone new now. This is our My Place story, and it gives us the opportunity to hear about the life of another Queensland student.
Hi, my name is Memphis. My mob are the Grang Grang people, but I live in Kumbameri country. My favourite part about learning at home is that my teacher gives me fun activities to colour in. I miss school because I miss my friends and I miss playing with them. I like taking my dogs for a walk with my mum and dad in our beautiful backyard, which has a creek, and we do this. Do you have any pets at home?
I'll huff, I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down. In the story of the three little pigs that Laura shared with us earlier, each house was made of either straw, sticks, or bricks. Some of the little pigs' houses were no match for the wolf, though. Perhaps they need a lesson in materials and design. What is your house made of? Is it all one material, or did the designers use lots of different materials? Here's David to ask the question. What is your house made of?
Hi. Your house is probably made of lots of different materials. How did the designer choose which ones to use? Let's look at a few. Now, the straw house didn't work out well for the little pigs, and nor did the one made from sticks. But people in countries all over the world have learned how to make good houses from these materials. Now, the house designed by the Meriam people in the Torres Strait Islands started with a frame of bendy sticks, a bit like this bamboo, and then grass and leaves were all woven in to keep the rain out. Now, Jonji people built traditional houses like this in the rainforest of North Queensland too. The word they use for shelter or living place is mija. Aboriginal people also made stone houses, and I even have a picture of one made out of whale bones. I have an old house. It was built 80 years ago, and it's mostly made of wood from trees. Wood's quite strong, and it's fairly easy for builders to cut and join it. We need a lot of material to build a house, so we have to grow lots of trees. Can you think of a problem with using wood? Sometimes wood can be eaten by small animals called termites. That can make it not so strong. They ate some of mine. We like to let sunlight into our houses, and we also like to see what's outside. So nearly every house uses this material because we can see through it. We say it's transparent. Does your house have some glass windows? Can you think of a problem with using glass? It's easier to break than most house materials, so we have to be careful with it. I won't use the hammer. Do you know what the roof of your house is made of? Mine's made of thin sheets of metal, a bit like this. It's very waterproof and it lasts a long time. And it's also fairly quick and easy to make a roof out of metal sheets. I can hit it with a hammer, it'll bend a bit, but it won't break. Can you think of a problem with a metal roof? When mine got really old, it was rusty and the rain leaked through the rust hole, so I had to get a new one. Metal's often used for parts like window frames as well. Can you see any metal parts in your houses? Clay is easy to dig up out of the ground and make into bricks. Sometimes people just let it dry and let it go hard. But if it ever gets wet again, it turns back into squishy clay. A long time ago, people found out that if you bake the clay in a very hot oven, it changes into a harder material that's waterproof. Does your house have any bricks? Concrete is a mixture of sand and stones and cement powder. It's a bit like clay, but instead of baking it in an oven, mix water with it. I'm just going to mix a bit here. Add a few of these in. Sand and stones, bit of cement powder, and some water. And if I stir that up, this will be rock hard by evening. Once it goes hard, it's waterproof too. It's easy to make a lot of it and it's very strong. So it's used on really big buildings. They put steel bars in to make it stronger. I'm pretty sure there's concrete somewhere in your house. Maybe it's under the floor. plasterboard is a little bit like concrete. It's not as strong and it's not very waterproof, but it's fairly cheap and it comes in great big sheets, so it's a quick way to cover the walls in your house. But because it's not waterproof, here's some I've put in water, it's not very strong, so it can only go inside where it won't get rained on. Designers often choose different materials for different parts of a house. What properties of material have we talked about? We've found that some materials are very hard, some can bend. This material is transparent, and most of them are waterproof. Now it's time to look back on what we learnt today. We now know that materials can have different properties that make them useful. And we've learnt that designers choose different materials for different parts of a house because of their properties. Have a close look at your house, inside and outside, and see how many different materials it's made of. I wonder how many you can find. Have fun.
And we're back. By now I'm sure that everyone who's been listening well through English, Maths and Science is ready for a brain break. And we have new students joining us who need to get their bodies moving too. Have fun with our friend from the AFL and I'll see you next time. Luke will join the middle primary kids up next.
G'day, I'm Thomas Berry from the Brisbane Lions and I'm stuck at home like you guys. This is what I do to stay fit and healthy. First of all, I won't need this though. First up, we're going to do the high knees. Faster, guys. 3, 2, 1. Righto, we're gonna go into a plank. I want you to have a flat back. Look at your hands. I can do this for a long, long time, guys. Righto, last of all, we're gonna do the mountain climbers. I want your knees up to your elbows, like you're climbing a mountain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Righto, that's enough for me. Go Lions and have a crack, guys.